playing field for so many years. But the new structure provides us with a level playing field and the opportunities to integrate our streams more solidly with the school education and with the the university education right up to the research. And that's when Sabbas, me, and Lena thought that we need to really take it with the first month itself as the NEP document came in, and we started discussing how to put this together and how to create a group which can actually help the right implementation of these ideas. And that's one of the reasons that we had uh, really unique sessions, right with the government officials to the universities, the regulators, as well as the industry, because the present framework uh, leaves it open as a structure, and it's up to the industry and the academia to work together and fill that structure with the right ingredient. So the topic that we're going to discuss today is formalizing informal education, driving career opportunities in the space of uh, the media, entertainment, design, events, and the sports at large. And that's uh, uh, that's our second day today. We had very unique sessions with some of the universities, as well as AICT chairman and the secretaries yesterday. And sowing seeds at early age was the first session today morning, followed by the sports session. And today we are going to see how we roll this out for various verticals that we work in as an industry. And that's why we wanted to really see the print, the film, the radio, the animation, gaming, visual effects, as well as, the edutainment and various other verticals, including events. And as we move forward, I would like to introduce the moderator of the session, Mr. Sabbas Joseph. He needs no introduction because the country knows him as one of the co-founders of Wizcraft, which have actually had unprecedented growth in the last 3 decades, have set up world-class brands, and have taken our industry globally through IFA awards. At the same time, we share a lot of common things, on the FICCI forum all the time, with Media and Entertainment Skill Council, where Sabbas serves as the General Secretary right now. We had a wonderful time together building Media and Entertainment Skill Council. At the same time, we have known Sabbas, who would actually always say, "Let's go get it" attitude, and that's how he also have been a president of EMA, which is Event Entertainment Management Association, which has actually grown multifold under his leadership, and today it's a force to reckon with. And he didn't stop there. In 2011, he lead managed a kind of a team within Wizcraft to create an education opportunity, and have created the Wedding Academy, the BBA programs, the MBA programs, the MMS programs, and BMS programs, and presently working with more than 5 to 6 universities with formalizing the events program. And that's why, who other than Sabbas can definitely moderate this session. So I leave it to you. Welcome all of you on the panel. And Sabbas, please take it forward. And we would like to see this rocking panel, come up with great ideas. Over to Sabbas.
Thank you, Ashish. You've been very, very generous with your praise and introduction. Thank you. It's been fun working with you in building FICCI Frames-LEAP. Moving forward to our session, it's titled Formalizing Informal Education. Today, in this session, we've focused on careers. So all of this education is of no real value unless it also goes into careers and entrepreneurship, creation of job opportunities, creation of content, creation of a world that we can not just be excited about in India, but also export to the world and become one with the world. The media and entertainment industry, as any of us would know, is a young industry. you look at the changing face of media and entertainment, it's suddenly rapidly changing because of the change in technology, sometimes the obsolescence of technology. And it's being replaced by fast-growing, rapid adaptation and rapid adoption of digital technology. This is happening across the spectrum, be it print, be it radio, be it telephony, be it across cinema, be it across platforms of distribution of films and content like the OTTs, etc. Be it look at a television from terrestrial to satellite to digital television, multiple platforms, multiple streams of the same content, different time zones, different adaptations, all of that is changing. And if you look at any aspect, digital has transformed it, digital has revitalized it, and digital has made you connect even better. I don't think a conference like this would ever have been possible if not for digital technology. Look at, we've got our speakers coming from different parts of the country on this particular panel. On another front, roles across media business are changing rapidly, even as the medium itself undergoes unfathomable change, really. But look at the careers. Do we need in any of our work music, sound design, sound recording, cinematography, choreography, costume design, makeup, hairstyling, prosthetics, sets, environment creation, lighting, camera technology? These are technologies, these are learnings that most people have had working in studios, working on projects, working on the ground. Even journalism for many years, people learned just by passion and by actually writing. Can we formalize these crafts, these skills, these learnings? Do they actually have a place in the formal world itself? Most people learn on the job through self-experimentation. Few, very, very few study abroad. And most succeed by sheer passion, determination, luck. Luck is a big factor, but it is always success against all odds. So here today we have with us one of the most exciting panels that you could ever put together for a session like this or a discussion or debate on this. Starting with Anurradha Prasad, Chairperson and Managing Director, BAG Films and Media Limited. Prior to launching BAG, Anurradha worked at the Press Trust of India, so journalism was her beginning story. Then she went on to set up her own production house, BAG's Films and Media, which is called BAG Films. You can say Anurradha 24 because Broadcast 24, her brand, has had News 24, E24, Dhamal 24, and she's really been unleashing platforms across radio, across television, and literally been able to be a content producer across all formats. She's been a member, and I worked with her very closely on the FICCI Entertainment Committee, and she's also been on the CII Entertainment Committee. She's been a board member of the Uttarakhand Film Development Council. And if you look at the number of women in media, you'd rank her among the top 20 always. And probably over the last 20 years, she's probably been among that top 20, every now and then rising further up in the echelons of the industry. Thank you, Anurradha, for joining us here. You bring in a lot of depth and a lot of experience, a lot of understanding of policy. So we'd like to hear from you as we go along. Our next panelist is Girish Agarwal, Promoter Director, Dainik Bhaskar Group. 29 years of experience. He's been awarded the Entrepreneur of the Year for the year 2006 by EY. He's been a media and an entertainment magnate in his own respects, an outstanding entrepreneur declared by the Asia Pacific Entrepreneur Awards. Dainik Bhaskar, as we all know, is India's largest circulated newspaper. What's interesting is it is the third largest circulated newspaper in the world. The first two ranks are occupied by two Japanese publications. Girish has been someone who's always available for anything that you want to do, which is positive with regard to youth, positive with regard to business, and especially positive when it comes to doing something for the country or his hometown, Madhya Pradesh. Girish and his family run the DB Group, which is into power, media, radio, television, outdoor, and an entire spectrum. Girish, thank you for joining us here. Your presence was immediately an excitement for everybody out here. Biren, how do you describe Biren Ghose? In designation, he's the country head for India for Technicolor. In real terms, Biren is an evangelist. He's been part of the animation world, visual effects world, bringing to life India's processing, India's creativity in the animation space. He's worked along with another friend, Ashish Kulkarni, who did the introduction earlier, to be able to build an AVGVC policy, which is really exciting. Biren works with DreamWorks and a whole lot of global companies to be able to access content and create content in India to take it to the world. As CEO of Kahani World Incorporated Canada, Biren has also been an evangelist for kids content. He's been also a founder and producer for original content with the uniquely Indian DNA. So Biren, thank you for joining us here. You've been part of some of the exciting stories in media, and I hope you bring a lot of that knowledge and that experience to our discussion today. My second last speaker is Akshay Chaturvedi, founder and CEO of Leverage Edu. Akshay is the creator and driving force behind one of India's fastest growing startups, Leverage Edu, which empowers students across India to choose the best match career and higher education options with one-touch access to personalized mentors and leading global universities. Akshay and Leverage Edu, I believe, are at the cusp of being able to create change in a different space. What I like about what Akshay and Leverage Edu are doing is that they're democratizing the education process and the education opportunities for us in India to be able to access the best in the world. Akshay has been selected as Prime Minister's Champions of Change and has worked closely with Niti Aayog on higher education policy framework. Leverage Edu and Akshay identify with India's vision of democratizing access to learning and education for our 130 crore population. Thank you, Akshay, for joining us here. I think you bring in a lot of the knowledge of what's happening across the world, what you would like to see done in India, what are the responses of people across the media space, and we'd love to hear from you. My final panelist is someone I think everyone in this panel and outside would be excited to know about. Amala Akkineni, Director of the Annapurna College for Film and Media. The Annapurna College is based in the heart of Annapurna Studios in Hyderabad. Amala ji, a dancer with the renowned Kalakshetra dance troupe, is also a highly successful superstar actor. She's completed 50 films. Please note, 50 films as a leading lady across 5 Indian languages, all the South languages, and also Hindi. She has embraced cinema, television, and OTT. Married to the renowned film actor and producer Akkineni Nagarjuna, she's been involved with stellar charitable work under the Blue Cross, largely in the space of animal welfare. While Amala could be described as having lived multiple lives as a student, dancer, actor, producer, social worker, educationist, in her mentoring role, she holds alive the dream of Akkineni Nageshwara Rao to guide young people on an informed path for professions in film and media. What more can I say? I'm genuinely excited about the panel that we have before us. Leading lights, experienced, and working with young people across platforms. So we're really going to have an exciting discussion. I'm going to open the floor with Girish Agarwal. Girish, I'm going to throw this to you to share your perspective on the trends and look at the trends from a perspective of trends, education, and careers. Please share your light.
See, I strongly believe that in any kind of career and professional, as you mentioned about how to formalize the informal, I think 2 things India needs and all of the young force need to do that is to invest time and effort in research and on-job training. Because most of the time, people do a particular course, particular subject, and they assume that they are going to then get a further job and learn furthermore in that particular, line. But life is not as simple, So I would encourage all the companies and all the youngsters to spend more time on the on-job training, because when you get into a particular line, you assume that you will become a technician, maybe a journalist, maybe a reporter, maybe a cameraman or whatever. But when you do that job for 3 months time, 6 months time, then you realize that no, this is not cut out for me, or I think this is the thing what I wanted to do in life. Now for that 3 months, 6 months, before that you actually spend 2 years, 4 years to do a particular course. And then after that you come to a cross point saying that, oh man, I think I lost out, I did a wrong course. So rather than that, I'm a firm believer of doing an on-job training and spend a lot of time in research, in understanding what more can be done.
Thank you, Girish. I'm going straight from Girish to Anurradha. She's been right at the helm of policy making in its own way. She's also been working across media and also a whole lot of young people who first take their career footsteps in production. If you could share your light on how you're seeing careers, especially in radio and television, how are they emerging?
Okay, thank you, Sabbas. Thank you so much for having me here, and good afternoon to all the panelists. And it's great to connect here again at the FICCI Forum. FICCI has always been doing all this over the years, and we are very much grateful to FICCI for initiating all these, seminars, webinars, all. So, Sabbas, when you ask me, let me start by saying that how, whether one liked it or not liked it, one went into television at the stage and age when there was no means and methods to television. I went into television because I happened to join PTI, and PTI television was setting up at that point of time. And my former boss and a very, very renowned face of that particular time, Mr. Shashi Kumar, he pulled me into it. And that's how, and believe you me, that at that point of time, and when I went into to join the video news magazine syndrome with News Track and, Observer channels, we had 20 kilos of cameras with us and 11 kilo of sound recording machines with us. We had a team of 7 people with big lights traveling with us. We didn't know what we are doing, but we were doing something that it made an impact. When I, as a cub reporter, I was sent to Parliament. That time Parliament was not so security conscious, and because I had a television camera with me, so people thought that I'm maybe from Doordarshan. They did not think I'm from PTI television, because television at that point of time meant Doordarshan. So they used to accept me. At the same time, the photographers and all these people, they used to shun us. So it's been a very, very long and very interesting journey that I started. And, we went into it with clear and free mind that whatever will come, we will report. And that was the drive that I, as a television professional, developed. And I think that drive still is with me. I have not let it go from me. Because unless and until you have the drive in television and the media and entertainment industry, the passion, you will not succeed, because it will otherwise start looking monotonous to you. So when I started my own production house, Sabbas, it became like a school, because there was hardly any production house in Delhi at that point of time. We were one of them, and we happened to get lots of programs from Doordarshan. So, and I was also not trained. Believe you me, I was not trained. I was trained in international politics from Delhi University. But I had done my PG in international politics, but I learned on job. And I trained people on job. Here is the cut to cut. Here is you will roll the tape. Here is what you will get it, etc., etc. So, and that's how my organization, BAG Films, became a training ground for a whole lot of people who came and set up channels across the country. In fact, my channel, my broadcasting station was set up the last, I mean, not the last, but quite late. But all the, you know, the Ajtaks of the worlds and all of them, people who set it up were fortunately or unfortunately, maybe of my age or maybe elder to me, but they were trained by me personally. And I had not done any training. I had learned also on job. And I decided this is how one has to, you know, Hindi mein ek line hai. Can I say that in Hindi? It says, Roj kuan khodo, roj pani piyo. Means you have to dig up every day and have the water. So I used to do that every day. So in 2006, I set up my own media institute. You know that, ISOMS, International School of Media and Entertainment Studies. It has now about 500 plus students. And the training that we give is on broadcast journalism. We follow the J School model, the School of Journalism, Missouri, the J School model, where we train our people, give them job in our own broadcasting stations. So by the time they complete their graduation studies, they do their degree, they are completely trained as broadcast journalists, as technical people, as writers, because they have to write their scripts, they have to write their all the stories, they have to write it themselves, they have to record. So by the time you complete your graduation and go into your PG, so post-graduation degree, you do it on job. And all 3 years you are trained to write, you are trained to do your voiceovers. So that means you are modulating your voice, you learn radio, you learn video, you learn camera, you learn broadcasting, complete broadcasting. In fact, now the broadcasting space has changed. You get less of, because of the new smartphones, you have the apps there. Earlier, all my people, my students could do technical engineering work too. They were pushed to that, to do it because of the skill that one honed them. And therefore, the students of ISOMS, when they get out, they're already on job. They get the job because they're trained. Now, coming back to how to formalize this, my whole issue is that we now have started a new education policy. Now, this policy, what I expect, the takeaway from this policy is that the skilling should start happening when the student or the young mind, young child is in the year of their secondary school itself. You have to train them to write well. You have to train them to get into framing a shot. You have to get them to understand culture. You have to get them to understand the people, our whole history, our geography, our writers, the autobiographies. You have to give them that kind of exposure. Why? Because otherwise, what they are getting now through the social media platforms is not so correct. They are getting exposed to all of it with certain diverted, misconstrued minds, which they should not. We have to give them the tools that they should be in a position to think, understand, and decide for themselves. And to do all that, it's extremely important that the passion in them remains. That's what I have to say.
Sabbas, you are on a mute.
We can see and feel that passion right off from you. So thank you very much. I've worked along with you in many of those committees and roles, and that passion is so strong that it drives through even when it looks impossible. So thank you. Biren, I'm going to come to you. You played a role, this evangelical role, developing animation industry. There were no schools at one particular point. There was no education out there. Then came all the animation schools, etc., producing people, some may call it body shop, but I would say intelligent minds to be able to deliver to the world. Okay. Where have you seen this journey? What have you seen in this journey? Can you just share some light on that?
Thank you very much. It's great to be at FICCI FRAMES-LEAP. I was hoping this year wouldn't make me miss a FICCI Frames. I've never missed one in all these years. So great to be here. Great platform, and congratulations to Lina, Ashish, Sabbas, all of you who keep doing this with the vigor and vitality as always. So great also to see some old friends. One of the big things I used to do in the early days of FICCI is to go and stand near the free Coke machine or the water cooler and find out who in media has gone to other places. We used to exchange cards. Oh, okay, you're here, you're here. It's the kind of the annual update of the community. So glad that we're doing this in whatever way we can. I'd like to basically say that this is a great moment for us to all talk together, think together, and move forward. The task before us is to bring growth back. I mean, the industry is highly damaged over the last 200 days, and we need to figure out ways to do this. So I thought of 4 things that I would like to start with. Let's get away from intellectual debate. Number two, let's get away from 2 decades of blame game. Education not giving us the right people, no production people are not taking them, no jobs are not coming. This has been, we're bored now. I mean, we did that. We had lots of fun for 10, 15 years talking like that. Number 3, get away from, this science versus art thinking. All the people that went to the schools you talked about, Sabbas, were the ones whose parents were extremely disappointed and were embarrassed to tell their friends and family and neighbors that my kid has gone to an art school. Whereas in the UK or USA, if you say you got into so-and-so art school, they'll say, wow, okay? So let's get away from that. Let us see how I think everyone is in the direction of creating some collaborative models, maybe quite non-linear, maybe quite unconventional, and can focus on certain things where, we can stream people who can be taught certain skill sets and they can do certain jobs. So most of you here are extremely familiar with the filmmaking process, but every frame of animation or every frame of visual effects that gets created has more than 50 jobs in it. And it has 14 different skill sets in it, from modeling to texturing to lighting to rigging to, the works, right? And I'm not going to go into that. And these require very, 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 very specific development. And I don't think we actually created those jobs for body shop, because we would have been better off, Sabbas, if we had done that. We created a lot of generalists. And, looking at this panel, this is a perfect panel, because if I went to go and see, what Leverage Edu is doing, they're matching through AI, they're trying to match a skill to a person, to a profession or a course, right? And if I look at what other people on this panel are doing, they are looking at, I read a little bit about Amala's, a few lines about what they did, they're trying to do, and 2 things struck out. Conceptual and practical skills. Wow, that line, I didn't see all the degrees and everything else. And developing imagination, right? Because how does Spielberg make so many different films, or how does Amala act in so many different films? Because first you encourage divergent thinking, which we do not encourage in India. And then when you throw away all the things that have come from those divergent thinking, you narrow in on certain things and you go deep into that focus. And that is, I think, the opportunity before us right now. So what I would like to say is there are only 2 people talk about transformation every day. Then the latest word, transformation, is trending even more than COVID-19. But there are only 2 types of transformation. Okay, one is a customer-led transformation. So big films are, on the halt, and streaming episodic work is going to pick up automatically. That transformation takes place. It's customer-led. The second transformation is technology. Because of my limited ability, I can't think of any other transformation. And talent basically has to follow one of these 2 things. And the new education policy, since you brought it up, has a fantastic opportunity because there are jobs that can be created in this sector. And I'm calling, we have funny names for my sector. The AVGC is not understood in 80% of the world. We call animation, visual effects, games, comics. How those came together, I don't know. But we're not paying royalty to anybody, so it's fine. But as far as we are concerned, this digital sector can have people who can come out even after 5+3. After 8 years of education, they can get a job as a roto artist. They can make 15,000 rupees, average today's price, in today's context, 10 to 15,000 rupees. They can go on studying at the side and improve their skill sets and improve their education, and they can move up. The opportunities are amazing. Of course, there are some bottlenecks. I'm not sure what the labor laws will say if we employ somebody who's finished 5+3. We need to work on those kinds of things. But I think, there's a time to use the new enabling environment to practical development. Everybody on this call is going to say one thing, that we have to train our own people. And yet, my good friend at Aptech and Framebox and Arena and all these places will tell me that they have 40,000 students. Somebody has 15,000 students. Someone has 20,000 students. And they say they're all getting placed and they're all doing well. And if I go back to the first point I made today, I don't want to get into that argument. All I want to say is that today I employ 5,300 people in my studio. It's the largest single studio in the world by top line, bottom line, even my waistline. According to every single thing, it's the largest studio. And as you correctly said, someone says I'm DreamWorks, someone says I'm Disney, someone says I'm Electronic Arts. Yes, they're all our clients. We are Technicolor. We've been Technicolor for 103 years. And we are only the blue collar workers who work for the other people to make their IP and their projects and their things. And it is not that we do the simple work, we do the most complex work, and we do end-to-end work. In fact, when we talk about content, I just wanted to make sure that we understand what we really need to do right now is to work with both formal and informal folks. I've run an experiment here for 7 years now, where we take 5 lakhs of rupees in the first few years and then 7 lakhs of rupees from the local government in Karnataka. We have gone and put digital tools into the government art colleges. We have not created a curriculum. We have fought very hard not to create a curriculum. We have fought to make it voluntary. We have fought to have the trainer train first in a central resource and then let go there. And 10 to 20% of the students go in and learn those tools and learn what they otherwise have to pay a lot of money after 4 years of graduation to go to a school and learn. And the results are fantastic because there are people who have come into this genuinely. Now when the 3-year contract has been completed with our local association, they are now themselves creating a fund. They themselves are putting up a formal course. They're making this a part of their story. So actually, you have to learn to light the fire. And I believe that it can be done not in the formal places, not in the grade A cities. Out of the 20 colleges that we have enabled, only one is in Bangalore. All the 19 are in Dharwad, Hubli, the smallest places. And I believe me that the one guy who we started as a management trainee who goes to those places, his name comes in the newspapers because he's creating careers for kids, right? He's now been with us for 7 years, so he's a manager. But I think that's the kind of model that we need, where you're from the space, Sabbas, and everybody else is here, that we've learned this long time, right? Tell me and I will forget it. Teach me and I may remember it, but involve me and I will learn it. So I think that's the way to do it, is to let's get away from, I don't believe that the informal should be made formal. I believe that the informal should be hyper-scaled. And the hyper-scaling of that informal will stream people in certain ways. And everybody on this call has certain expertise that can create that project. I'll call it a project Concord. Let's say we start, all of us. Let's make this group a founder group. Come on. Let's start something called a project Concord. Let's just spend one hour a week for 6 weeks and give it away to the world to run. I think that's what my opening comment will be. And I just like to say that the one thing that we have not mastered is how to bring women into this field. There are 30% of people in all the education institutions that are women, 20 to 30%, depending where you go. Do you know what the national average for AVGC sector for women is? Less than 1.5%. Less than 1.5%. I've made it a campaign in our studio. Out of our 3,500 people, we are 11% now women. And it's taken a lot to do, okay? Because it's very, very difficult. And I think that is a whole latent force to be unleashed in all sectors of our industry that we can actually move forward with. So, really, really happy to hear everybody else's view. I think, we've got a great panel. We can make something out of this that goes beyond a conversation today. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Biren. We talk about transformation as something that is left for somebody else to do. But transformation actually begins with each one of us. And I've seen that, and it's really part of the Akkineni story itself. Transformation in their movies, transformation in their work, transformation in society, and transformation for the industry itself. So I'm really going to throw this to Amala at this particular point. I'd like you to reflect on your own personal journey, the story of Annapurna Studios, and the Annapurna College for Film and Television that you're running. If we could see the journey in this entire tripartite kind of three-point polar perspective, I think it'll help us to begin to understand what we need and where do we want to go.
Thank you, Sabbas. Let me begin with what an honor it is to be part of this panel, and a very good afternoon to all the FICCI audience. It's great to be here, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. My personal journey has been really very exciting. Being a dancer and a performer, what better career could I get than films? And I entered at a time where there was a lot of work. It's referred to now as the golden age of cinema. It was growing and expanding across the South, and I really had a fabulous career opportunity working with so many different filmmakers across the country. I had a flair for languages, but I forget them as fast as I learn them. But I can go into a set after a week of training and being able to deliver lines in a language that I don't speak. If there is anything I see from looking back at my career, I see change. And I would experience it film to film, industry to industry, year to year. I saw the change when television took off. I saw the change when the online OTT platforms took off. If there is anything that we know in cinema, that is change. And looking at Annapurna Studios, I mean, it's the dream every young person or every person in the industry has, to come from nowhere, out of nothing, and just by sheer talent and passion to drive an industry into a state and, think of the motherland. I mean, that is such an inspiring story. Every Telugu person knows and kind of gets inspired by Akkineni Nageshwarrao Garu. And as much as he experienced fame, he believed that an industry has to be built, and has to be built by the professionals in the industry. It can't be built by anyone else. And he would take every single opportunity he saw to connect with people, to drive future plans, to embrace and create spaces where where the industry could grow. There are stories of in the family when he was contemplating on what to do with his wealth. He had just become a very successful actor, and I think for the first time he saw a lakh of rupees, and at that time it was some insane amount of 78% tax. So despite that, it was a lot of money, and he had this discussion with the family, and he decided he would create a place to work where people would come and be able to work, be able to create films. And that's how Annapurna Studios came about. Any family-run business, as you know, any family-run industry, family-run business, it comes from a lot of sacrifice and a lot of personal vision, personal purpose. You know, it comes not because somebody laid the foundation and gave you a golden spoon, and it comes from a lot of investment of money that you borrow at high interest rates. And so one generation after another has just committed to see this through, and every decade has passed like that. From Nagarjuna, his older brother Venkat, and then Nagarjuna himself, and now the younger generation have also joined in the family-run business at Annapurna Studios. But the one place my father-in-law, that was his last wish. He said that it's just not enough to create a place of work. We have to teach them how to make these films. Because otherwise, at the time, there was only, of course, the government-run institutions, the reputed ones, FTII and SRFTI and KL Narayana Institute in Kerala. He felt that the private education, they were all going abroad, and it was costing enormous sums of money, which he felt, you know, he must provide this if the Telugu film industry and the South and people from the regional film industries want to study. He believed that we need to do something here and now. And that's how Annapurna College of Film and Media began. I've been associated for the last 8 years. The college itself is 9 years now. And I think my life connected to all of this shows that you can grow and change and reskill, relearn, fit yourself in, because it's human wisdom that we carry. It's human understanding that we carry. In the creative field, if you look back across time, maybe in the ruins of any of the great sites that you go to the present day media and entertainment, you will see the one thread that connects us all is poetry, music, song and dance, stories, human suffering, human victory, human aspirations. And it's how you help a young mind understand how these things come about that really helps. So education has been, you know, developed in a most beautiful, I came with swords drawn about how education should be for the industry. And now I am in awe. I'm like, my head bowed in awe of how education is so beautifully designed. These young minds come at 17. Their brains are still developing, and how on earth can they think of what career they should have? Why are we stealing away their innocence and their childhood and their dreams? And they should, when they learn to study poetry and music and storytelling, and then they learn to take different technologies that excite them, because technology is yes, it needs experience, but technical skills have to go along with intellectual development. You know, intellectual development, technical skills, then there's the personal journey, the personal development, and then there's the professional orientation, the professional grooming and growth that they will look at. So education has so beautifully packaged these four together. Very truly, the higher education policy is amazing. I think it is setting the bar where every Indian would be so proud to study in India. We won't be running away and draining all our family's wealth into foreign lands, no matter how reputed they are. If we are able to deliver this standard of higher education, I think we have nothing to fear, because the only thing certain is change. And if we cannot prepare our young students to be able to dive into a subject, doesn't matter how new and how strange it is, dive into it, glean out what is important to get a task done, learn the skills, build the teams, collaborate, and then do it with a passion of a warrior. I mean, India is all set if we can do that. I am so excited to be in this space, and I look forward to interacting with the young people on my campus every day. I've been missing them terribly during this this difficult time, but we connect online, and classes are going on online. And if anything, the proof is that people will always seek a way to switch off from the mundane challenges of life. I myself look forward to putting my feet up 9 o'clock and just watching something and forgetting about all the challenges I've faced in the day and all the things I have to face tomorrow. And the entertainment industry online has grown perhaps on par with the online trade. So I'm pretty sure that we are on the right track and our students will deliver whatever the change that comes. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your passion, sharing your journey, and sharing the Annapurna dream, you know, the Nageshwar Rao Akkineni dream. I'm moving from Amala to Akshay. And Akshay, I don't want to know so much about leverage edu as much as how much does leverage edu know about the students? I want to know from your AI, from your understanding, what are students looking for? What do they want? Which are these colleges that they want to go to? What is driving them? What is driving this passion? And like Amla said very correctly, there's tons of money being put in behind going after international colleges, international education, etc. Where is that drive coming from? Why don't we have enough options here in India? And what can we do to bring about these options and make them available to our people, to our young people? Over to you, Akshay.
No, sure. No, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute privilege. I've been a massive fan of, I'll take 30 seconds to address this for sure, and then I'll come to your question, sir. Been a massive fan of Biren sir's work. My dad was a journalist with a newspaper called Jansatta when I was growing up, and he did some work with Anurradha ma'am in 1996. So it's an absolute honor for me. And I could totally imagine a very young version of my dad getting trained at Anurradha ma'am's studio when she was making her remarks. And similarly, like I've grown up with Hindi dailies coming to my home. So I've grown up with Dainik, Bhaskar. I'm on the same panel with a Filmfare Award winner. So that's a big victory in life for sure as well. Cannot, of course, deny the fact that I always wanted to get an IFA award. So hopefully after this, I'm going to email you and make sure I hack my way into that. No, first of all, again, thank you so much for having me here. I'll take a step back and kind of shed my light on something else. I think what's very important and what's also kind of, it's great that it was changing to some degree. It's not that NEP has come in and brought a total transformation. But I think what was already changing in NEP is going to accelerate it is the fact that awareness in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, that was already increasing very fast. So I won't imagine that my parents came from a tier 2, tier 3 city in UP to Delhi to make sure that I get the right, I'm raised the right way. But I don't think like parents today in a tier 3, tier 4 city need to essentially move to a Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore to be able to raise their kid. The kids in tier 3 cities are as smart as somebody in a South Bombay or a South Delhi or somewhere else could be. So I think that awareness is changing very, very fast. The evolving middle class that we have today in this country, I think that's our biggest victory. That's our biggest, I think, possession in some sense in this country. And for example, like let me, I'll come to the world of film since that's the panel I'm on. But if I go back to my story, I was a big football fan. And had I known that there is this college in the UK for about 10 to 11 lakh rupees called St. Mary's, which will make sure that I do a course in sports management and then I can get a job at Chelsea Football Club. I would have done that and not picked up a degree in finance and investment. Chef Vikas Khanna, Michelin star Chef Vikas Khanna, right, had his BG told him in 2002, 2003 that एक काम कर तू अमृतसर से पंजाब इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज से इंजीनियरिंग कर ले, बाकी सारे भी वही कर रहे हैं. What's the need for you to go and study culinary arts and do cooking? We wouldn't have had Michelin star chef Vikas Khanna like we have him today, who's feeding the entire country. So I think those examples were rare back in the day, but that's very, very quickly changing. What's also happened in the last couple of years is that the gap between universities abroad and the universities in India has narrowed. And when I say narrowed, that means narrowed not just in the sense that quality is becoming equal, but the price point is also becoming really equal. So today you can go to a London School of Economics for 15 lakh rupees, and you would go to some of the priced liberal arts universities in Delhi and Bombay and Pune for about 35, 36 lakh rupees. So that price point has also changed to a large degree, and people are hence thinking about the fact that, hey, can I do a liberal arts degree? Because you know what? I've seen that people from a liberal arts background also tend to do really well in a tech environment. People who have done a course in creative writing can be great in the media world, or they can be great in a physics-driven world as well, because a different kind of thinking is now kind of lauded upon, which wasn't the case. Like Biren sir said, it was very science versus art thing back in the day. That's not the case now. You have a company like Airbnb in the tech ecosystem where the founders from a design background. We have another company, another mentor, Kunal Shah, who used to run a company called Free Charge. Now he runs a company called Cred, through which you pay your credit card bills. He came from a liberal arts background and he's running a technology company. So I think those things are really changing, and that's brilliant for the country and for where we're headed. The last point that I would make, I'll keep it brief, is that what the national education policy is going to do, it's going to further accelerate this opportunity of studying different things and widening up your mind. Something very similar to what Anurradha ma'am said in the beginning. I can now go out and do a physics, and I can do a political science, and I can do a philosophy at the same time. I can mix that science plus arts. I need not do science versus arts now. And when I mix those things together, magic happens, because now I'm thinking logically and I'm also thinking creatively. I have a more intuitive way of looking at things. I have a more intuitive way of kind of deciding what's right and what's wrong in my career, or how do I essentially solve problems? How do I structure problems in a much better way? So I think that is great. And I think as time move forward, something that we're seeing even right now during the pandemic is that universities abroad, some of the larger universities abroad with big brand names have also reduced their prices. They're continuing to invest on quality. And at the same time, Indian universities also we have seen new universities come up. In fact, one of the points in NEP is that about 100 top universities from across the world can come and set up their campuses here. So we have been working with about 7 of them and saying that, hey, can we have a program where you do 2 years here in India, in a Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, and do 2 years abroad, and keep it very reasonably priced in as competitive to names like Ashoka University or a Flame University or a Kriya or a Plaksha, these new universities that you essentially hear of. So I think times are really changing. From at least what I've learned, I've been running this company for the last 3 years. I'm not a veteran at all, 3.5 years now. But so much has changed in just 3.5, 4 years of me running this company. And I won't, though I read a lot, I won't imagine what will happen in the next 4 to 5 years. And like ma'am said, like Amala ma'am said, change is going to be the only constant. And I think the pace at which the world is moving, it's going to surprise us. So we are folks who will essentially have to move much forward and keep in touch with what's happening out there. And we are in for like really, really great times. Again, super privileged to be on this panel and learning a lot from all of you guys.
Thank you, Akshay. Thank you for being absolutely on point. I'm going to jump from there. We've got very limited time. Unfortunately, this wasn't Arnab's show, so I did not want to interrupt you. And so we've allowed each of you to really speak your hearts and minds out, because we got a lot more knowledge from each of you than just doing a Q&A as a typical moderation kind of session. So I'm going to go to you, Anurradha, with a question on change is a constant. Change is a theme that everyone seems to have clearly established, saying, yes, change is there. What do you want to see as change in the education system to be able to be more relevant to our media and entertainment business?
I think most important that you start giving exposure to kids from then when they are at the adolescent age itself. We have to give them the exposure that what is India, what has been India, what are the basic values and ethos of India, what has been the literature of India, what has been the technology in India earlier, and how we have to give them that don't take career as a career. Take career as way of life, so that you have money also and you enjoy your life also. It's not that you are only going after money. You have to enjoy your work, money and life both will be good.
Super. Thank you, Anurradha.
That's
I'm coming to you, Girish.
Yeah.
Your print media, which is really the bastion that we talk about, you're really different from everyone else on this panel. So I'm going to stay with the print media with you. Distribution, revenue, selling better, marketing better, integration of print with every other form of media, writing better, being able to get to the heart of news and heart of everything, of commentary, to be able to bring about change. What would you do if you had the chance to be able to mold every person who came into Dainik Bhaskar to be holding a set of values that Dainik Bhaskar holds so high up, and be those agents of change across your system and for the country?
So very first thing, what we do in our company from last many years, I think now 25 years, is that the day person joins us, we ask him to unlearn. Because what happens when you come from any organization, any particular field, maybe you are senior or junior, you come with a lot of baggage, and especially seniors, they come with a lot of baggage. I know 15 years, I know 10 years and all that. So he said, please take a month and unlearn everything. Why? Because if you want to learn something, first of all, you need to make space. So your brain is too cluttered. Unlearn, make space, make room for things to learn. And also the most important thing, when you say to yourself, you agree to yourself that I want to learn, then you become humble. Then for you to go to a shop floor, to go and do a reporting yourself, go and write a story, edit a story, or having somebody junior editing your story and saying that, sir, I didn't agree with your point of view, it's a very difficult thing. In any field, like within, whether it's a marketing, sales, editing, production, anything. So that's what the best thing. And we've been successful because of this only. That we request people, folded hands, please unlearn and then learn again.
Super. Thank you, Girish. Amala, I'm on to you. First, I actually have to say a big thank you to you and Nag. When we were doing the IFA Utsavam in Hyderabad, you and your family really came out of your way to support us in that entire initiative. Really, thank you. And I remember that time, it took very little effort to get you on board, because all that we said was, we're doing it for our Indian cinema and our Telugu cinema, etc. And you said, listen, don't break your head about trying to convince us. We are on board. Tell us what we've got to do. And thank you very much. I'm out here asking you a very simple question. What can Telugu cinema and Annapurna do to be able to transform media and cinema education in the country? I want to hear just 1 or 2 points from you to be able to capture that, to be able to take it forward.
Besides great courses and infrastructure and faculty to deliver them, I think what we need as support is a good education governance from the policymakers. Right now, what we're struggling with, I mean, we have great plans. We have fabulous plans, and we are determined we are going to do something really, really special. Fabulous campus, courses that are cutting edge, and 4-year courses with degrees at the end of it, masters courses, collaborative courses. We're already, our grad films are already getting snapped up by online media channels. So, and that announcement is going to come next month, so I won't go there yet. But what we are lacking right now is a kind of a governance to understand the difference in film education to the regular stream of education. Most of the time, when we are ready, like tomorrow college is starting, I have my students ready and registering for their classes, and tomorrow the class is going to start, and we still haven't got the academic calendar, and we're dependent on the university to give it to us, and the university is dependent on something else, and something else is dependent on the state, and it is just like Why does it have to be such a nightmare when your dreams and your strategy is completely in place, when your infrastructure and your people are in place? Why does it have to be a struggle? If only we could just get through that struggle and make a smooth governance system. It's like when a train is leaving the station, my passengers have to be well seated. They should know they're going to the right destination. They should be ready for the journey. And by Joe, that journey, that 4-year journey they're going to make with me, or the 2-year journey they're going to make with me, is going to really challenge them to the limit. It's going to wring the strength and courage and requirements from them. So we need better governance. We need better governance to be able to do what we plan.
We will
welcome to the group.
We'll take that up at the right levels. And I hope that that begins to change. Anurradha is going to help us in that regard. Don't worry. We've got her signature on that commitment. Don't worry. Thanks, Anurradha. But more than that, thank you, Amala. I wanted to ask you one more question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get those teachers? You don't have those teachers available. How do we get those best-in-class teachers available? Try and be brief if possible.
So very honestly, the faculty that have come from FTII, SRFTI, and have grown in their own experience and arrived with us, they are fabulous. They really are fabulous, because I don't need a highly successful film director or DOP or director of cinematography to come and teach. They don't have the patience. They don't have the mindset. You see, to develop young minds and to groom them and mentor them, you need immense patience. You need patience of an elephant. And our faculty have that patience, and it takes a very distinct bent of mind to do that. We are on the cusp of a new age of cinema. You see, popular cinema has been the only cinema that we have ever spoken about. And art cinema was this dark and sad thing which nobody wanted to talk about. If you were like a failure, maybe you would talk about art cinema. But we are on a very different phase where, because India has advanced so much in education, and as Akshay was saying, more and more people are going through the education system, the quality of their entertainment is also changing. Their minds are opening up to new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of storytelling. And you see, our graduates, when they come out as what we call, from the academic form of filmmaking, we call them independent filmmakers, right? And that is just beginning to grow. These are the storytellers. They're raw. They've probably just done one grad film at the end of their course. Incidentally, you said less women. Of the 8 to 12 grad films we make every year, 5 of them last year of the 8 were women filmmakers. Wow. Yeah. So thank you. We're very proud of them, as well as our boys. But so when they come out, though they're raw, they have that original thought, because they've come through 4 years of study, of discussion, of feedback. The faculty have to have immense patience to give them feedback on every project. When you get a feedback so detailed on how to grow as a professional, how to grow in your creativity, it helps. And this is missing in the film industry. Nobody gives feedback. It's either the trolls going this way or the fans going this way. So, we have wonderful faculty. And they're only going to get better.
Thank you, Amala. I'm moving on to Akshay. Akshay, you have the platform. How do we democratize our education? how do you democratize and be able to make it more available across the board? Your top 2 points on this.
No, sure. No, thank you. What we are trying to do today is that make as much information self-serve as possible, and by doing 2 things. One, build wonderful products, which are state of the art, build great content loops. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect, perfect. I was saying what we're trying to do, so 2 top points are, we are trying to build great products. Like you spoke about the AI tool that we're building. We're also kind of building virtual fair platforms that give people access to career coaches, to universities in a one single click kind of option. Second thing we're doing is we're building great content loops, which means that people can go in on a platform, search for any information that they can about any career per se. It could be something in the films, it could be in music, it could be in acting, it could be culinary arts, like I said, it could be about how to make wines, it could be about photosynthesis, whatnot. And try and get as much information as possible in a much curated way out there online in a very easy way. Second thing that we're trying to do on top of the self-serve information is that making sure that people have somebody on the other hand who can guide them, who can essentially speak to them about how this plays out for them. So we have a team of about 100 plus career counselors who work with our team. And we have over 2,000 plus mentors who essentially are people who have gone through these roles themselves and are now going to be guiding these guys. So I think that the combination of using product-led approach and the combination of together with the fact that there are counselors who are trained to understand what really could be best for you, really helps a lot. So today we have over 1.5 million people who come onto our platform every single month. And out of that, we have over 35,000 people who call our call center and do our career counseling every single month. What we're trying to do next is we're trying to build this into more indie languages in tier 2, tier 3, so that accessibility kind of increases.
Thank you, Akshay. I'm just going to my last question to Biren, and you'll require to really be very, very brief, 1 sentence allowed. Biren, what are you seeing as coming from the rest of the world? How are they looking at Indian talent?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think apart from everything that's been said, we can work with anyone that has visualization. All of you talk animation, or you think of animation, visual effects, etc. These are not subject matters. These are spaces. The game engine technology will be now going into film and television. Everything that Anurradha will make in production in the next 5 years will have game engine technology. These are simple skills. Unreal, Unity, lots of languages are very, very simple to learn, very, very assisted by technology. I have seen that it's not about the education. The most successful people that we have that work on the world's best shows, I have these people that are 27 years old who won 4 Oscars, 8 Emmy Awards, the Cannes Lion 4 times, and so on and so forth. They have observation, they can observe, they can iterate. Not easy for people in small towns, they don't have the confidence to iterate. They can problem solve. They must work in a team. It's a team sport. Producing content in digital is a team sport. They must have a staying power. They must handle pressure. The producers are very tough. People pushing them all the time, right? Even in events, very tough. And finally, they must have reflexes. When I was being introduced to Akshay, he sent me a LinkedIn interest. Before his introduction finished, I replied to him. Before I started, he replied to me. You see, that's reflexes. So no matter he's only 3-4 years in this business, he's a veteran, right? We want to see that in the kids for tomorrow, and I'll end over there.
Okay. Thank you, Biren. Thank you, Anurradha. Thank you, Amala. Thank you, Girish. Thank you, Biren. Thank you, Akshay. You have been an awesome set of panelists. I think some of the brightest minds that we've had out here today. And more than anything else, you have been collaborative in your entire thought process. We spoke about change. We spoke about how to grow the seeds of creativity early. That's what came from Anurradha. Dig every day, fill up every day, live for every day, but keep changing, keep growing, keep moving forward. Amala told us about think larger, think beyond yourself, think about the community, think about your industry, think beyond. Girish has gone on to talk about other stuff, including talking about the country. You know, how do I grow beyond? How do I build people? How do I, and really the art of learning. Unlearn first to learn. Get into the entire story. And Biren, as always, has challenged everything. He's challenged the national education policy. You only require Biren and you don't require the national education policy. That's what he'd like to believe. But the only thing I'd say is the national education policy and everything that you have in education builds everyone with resources up to a particular point. After that, it's their passion, their own innate creativity, innate talents, and brilliance that gets them to the outstanding level that they all need. And finally, Akshay, you will be able to drive the future. AI, digital technology, it's coming even when you don't know it, you know, and it's going to be able to get us to wherever we want to go faster than we thought we could. We are at the trampoline point for India, wherein we've got the trampoline set as the national education policy. All of us have left our moorings and jumped without caring about where we are going to land. We're going to land on that trampoline, and as hard as we land, that's how high we will fly. So make the best of this opportunity. We have the opportunity to be able to change India, change our world, and change the future. Let's make the best of it. Thank you very much.
Before you end, I would like to
Thank
special thanks to Sabbas. I think you've been an amazing moderator. And to take out the best of all of us, I think you could only do that. Thank you, Sabbas, for that.
Well done, Sabbas.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sabbas.
See everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.